monitor our traffic and safety enforcement program. And first of all, I appreciate, it's kind of nice when you have to find chairs for everybody, so it shows how important this is to you folks. And I'm just going to speak, this may seem like a canned speech, but I can be sincere enough that we really try to get out in the neighborhoods and tell people to get involved. You may notice reading the paper that we're having a real rash with car break-ins and some other things, and trying to get people to get more involved in their neighborhood with neighborhood watch programs and stuff. So the fact that all of you are out here, I applaud you for coming out. My purpose here is I heard about it in the Star, and so this is important that we get out here and kind of get involved in these discussions. You're right, someone mentioned about the intersection. It is kind of a quirky intersection as far as what municipality, what jurisdiction gets involved with it. I can tell you from Sun Prairie, the accidents that have been reported to us as a police department, I did a snapshot of past 5.5 years, starting in 2007, and we had a total of 11 accidents that were reported to us in the 5.5 years. 3 of those being non-reportable because they didn't meet the threshold to go to the state. So the findings, as well as what Ryan mentioned as far as the type of pattern, a lot of it was weather condition. In fact, 2008 we had a rash of them. There was 4 of them that were weather related, and that could be, someone mentioned about the intersection. Again, I don't know what the intersection's like when it gets cold out, but a lot of those were winter weather conditions where we had some slide offs. This year we've had 3 reported to our police department. Again, that's what's reported to our police department. I don't have the stats for Dane County or for Marshall. One of those 3 was transferred to Dane County because once officers went out and assessed where exactly the accident location was, it was in Dane County jurisdiction, it was turned over to them. So that's the data that we have from a police department. I can tell you a couple years ago we did some speed enforcement when we more into town, especially when cops was coming up, and we had some of the residential neighborhoods in there complaining about some of the speeds as you got into town. And it was an issue, especially when you went from 35 to 25. I don't have the exact numbers, but I can tell you that the speed data, that makes sense to me as far as what we're seeing, especially with the transition from 55 to 35. Usually you're going to have people that are taking their time to get down to the speed limit we want them to get as they get into town, and then they start things up a little bit sooner as they're leaving town. So that's consistent with when we had our study back in 2010. I can be real honest, we don't get a lot of complaints for that area. We don't get a lot of complaints from citizens. I met somebody tonight who wants to do that, and I encourage, get in touch with us. If I may, Representative Hebl, just kind of give you a quick synopsis of what our traffic enforcement program we try to do is, we send our officers to areas where we are having, where the data shows that there's a plethora of accidents. 2 locations that our officers are paying attention to, again, based on DOT statistics that we get, that we report to them and that the county reports to them, is the intersection of Broadway and Windsor. We had 8 accidents there alone last year. And then CN19 is another problem intersection. That's where we focus some of our resources. We also focus our resources just on citizen complaints. When people call about speed, about failing yield right away, pedestrian crosswalks. And in those situations, we'll deploy resources to kind of observe on our own, maybe offer some suggestions, do some directed patrol. With speed, we have a speed board. I've taken some notes. What I can pledge to you folks is in the fall, especially because we like to get that speed board out a lot in the school areas. So September it's going to be tough because we're going to dedicate that speed board to a lot of our schools. But we can certainly get it out in your area, and we can do a study with the police department. And with there, we like to run the speed board 5 to 6 days of capturing data, and we'll do it where it's weekends and weekdays because we want to get that snapshot of the whole week. So we can certainly do that. We analyze the data, and then based on what the speed board shows, we deploy resources as necessary. Now I'm going to give you a little trick of the trade, just so you know how that speed board works. A lot of times people say, well, you had it out there, but it wasn't running. That thing wasn't lit up. You didn't do anything. See, we do have it running that whole time. It looks like it's shut down, but the whole time it's capturing speeds. It's doing a vehicle count, and we do that. So obviously when we do light it up, And now that speed is being registered to motorists, people are gonna be in tune to it, and they're gonna start slowing down. We wanna try to get as much as of an accurate portrayal as possible, so that's why it looks like it's completely shut down, but it's running. So that just gives you an idea of how we do that. And then,
Kevin?
yes?
With regards to that intersection, the jurisdictional issues that you raised,
Yeah.
does the city of Sun Prairie, is the border there right at the Town Hall Road, and then it goes to the town?
Anything east of that location, then you're talking Dane.
And then south of 19, and is that also east of?
Yes.
So then that's the sheriff's department at that point?
That is correct. Yeah. We did have the fatality, and just based on where that location was.
Is that determined by where the accident ends up?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
So it was on the east side or west side of
West
the
side.
intersection?
Yep. So again, I just wanted to give show you that information. I'm here to observe and listen and take as many questions as possible as well. So